Hey, welcome everyone to the Coronado Rotary Club, to our weekly Wednesday meeting for January 18th. So we'll start with our inspirational invocation and pledge with Chris Kleber, if he'd come on up, and if everyone would please stand.
Thank you very much, Luann. Would you please bow your heads? O Lord our God, you have graced us with abundance of blessings. We ask that you move us forward through turbulent times of pandemics, political polarities, and environmental crises to a stable place of health, solidarity, and stewardship for our world. Please bless those in our military, police, and fire forces as they vigilantly preserve our freedoms. Endow our leaders with the wisdom to lead us all to making our world a better place and expanding Rotary's ideals of service above self. Bless this meal and our fellowship time together today. We ask this in your holy name. Amen. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Chris. So welcome to all of our members, all of our guests today, and all of those people on Zoom, members and guests. So today, I don't think, do we have any visiting Rotarians? I don't think anybody signed in. Okay, let's go with the guests, if we can get the microphone for our guests.
President Luann, fellow Rotarians, I have a lovely guest here. Many of you know Joni Huck, and she is visiting us today. And Joni's been on the board of directors of probably every organization in town. So I figure she's a very nice fit for Rotary. So Sarah and I would like to introduce Joni Huck.
Welcome. Right here.
President Luann, fellow Rotarians and guests, it's my pleasure to introduce someone who's also very familiar to many of you, is Steve Johnson. Steve is publisher of the Coronado Times and a longtime resident of Folsom, I went back to my old stomping grounds, to Coronado, and very involved in our community. Nice to have you, Steve.
President Luann, fellow Rotarians, happy to introduce my guest, Bruce, next door neighbor, and I'm here for the first time.
Welcome, Bruce. Do you want to introduce me? Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. This happens to be Dr. Davina Hoyt, and she used to be in Rotary in Washington, the state of Washington. So she found us online, and she came today for the first time. And of course, Jamie thought it was a nice idea that she'd join us today. So here she is, and we're glad to have her. Thank you.
President Luann and Rotarians, I'd like to introduce Nancy Nguyen to us again. She's been here before. She has a Rotary fellowship, and she's leaving for Australia in a month and going to talk to us about it later on. Thank you.
And then, of course, we have our speaker over here, Randy Grossman, right here, that will be speaking to us later. Okay, I think that's everyone. Now, as we always do this for our Red Badgers, if they'd please stand up when I call your name. And if I miss anybody, let me know. Sarah Cheverton is here. Ronnie Hausler is here. Ronnie's somewhere, I think. Oh, she's back over here. Jerry Brown. Jerry's right here. Jacqueline and Eric Trapp, both here. And they'll be doing their Who Am I in just a little bit later. Hanadi Badasarian, Hanadi's right here. Joe Malloy that's right here, that's our tech guy, which we love. Carrie Siegenthaler, there's Carrie right there. I don't know, is Mike Johnson here? I don't see Mike. I think that's it. Did I miss anyone? And I don't know if any guests or Red Badgers that are on Zoom, if they want to unmute themselves and say hi. Okay, I think we're good. So if everybody saw, again today, we have the reserved new member spot at each table. And that's for anyone, it's in one at each table that is a new member, not only a Red Badger, but it could be someone that's a new member in the last year and a half. And so if they sit down at your table, please engage with them, introduce yourself, because obviously they want to get to know you. So next I have, it's called a Rotary Inspirational Slide. And I really thought it was very impactful with Rotary. So it says imagination, inspiration, invocation, teamwork, and as you see, grow. So I think that's something that our club is really good at. So next, the announcements. Okay, so as you can see, the food pantry at the IB Neighborhood Center, there is a lot of food over here that people have donated. We're still collecting at the 4 locations through January 20th, and then we're taking the food down to them. Just so you know, this is an ongoing thing. A committee has been formed, and what we'll do is as they know their needs, they'll get a hold of one of the co-chairs, and then they will present that to us so that we can do this again. So this is something that we can help out our neighbors, and I thank everybody that has contributed to that, and we'll still keep the same 4 locations, and then Wednesday you can bring food there too. So thank you to everyone for doing that. Next, there's 2 district meetings. One is the district member seminar. That is attracting young professionals. It's on Zoom, especially if you're a new Red Badger and you need to go to a district meeting or a club meeting. This is really good to do. Just go on the district website. Anybody can join. It's this coming Saturday from 9 to 10:30. And you just go online and register. Then the next one is the district anti-human trafficking safe house cleanup. We've done that several times. It's in South Bay. We get together, it's January 28th from 8:30 in the morning till noon. And we've gotten together at one location here and gone down to South Bay together. And it's very rewarding. So if you want to do that, get a hold of me and we'll form a group because we have to let the district know that we're going to do that. And there's usually 2 or 3 other clubs that join in. And I know everybody that's done it before has really, really loved it. So that's great. Okay. The Coronado Rotary Thank You Board. It's up for the last time this month. Please take a look at that. It just has all the thank yous, the letters, the things that we've donated to or things that we've done. So please take a look at that before or after the meeting. And then I want to thank past President Ken McLeod for donating his tickets to the Civic Center. And I think it was Karen Strabula at the bottom. And the $400 is going to be donated to Limbs of Freedom. So thank you so much, Ken, for that. Then last night we had our monthly board meeting. A lot of things were discussed, general things. But I want everybody to know the funds that were approved. We approved $1,000 to the Tanzania Orphanage. We approved $3,000 to 1,000 Smiles. And we approved $500 to the Coronado Middle School Outdoor Education Camp. So those were 3 of the things, like I say, that we approved for this month. Then the next, if Rotarians out and about, first one was the Rotary Social. And there's several photos that were taken. And the only reason I wanted to show this was, you know, how much I'm preaching on bringing your own cup. Get rid of the plastic. I mean, everybody hears me say that almost every week. And here we go. I think there are only a couple people that didn't bring, and Carol Summers was good enough to give them the wine glasses. So there's 2 pictures, and I think in the future we're going to be Emerald Keepers of the Month simply because we're trying to get rid of these plastic glasses. So if you can, Ray, show the next one. They could only get half the group in. It was a great social. So there's the other half. And then the next picture, if you can see the flames to the right, this was the flaming cheese that I can tell you, we won't be seeing flaming cheese again in any other socials. The flames were quite high, and thank God we didn't have to call the fire department. So that was the social. The next is the beach cleanup. And I just want to show everybody, it was a great turnout. And what's so great about this is there were a lot of family members, a lot of citizens that came out and helped everybody clean up. So thank you again to John Klinker and Paul Edline for always leading this once a month. And I'm sure there was a lot of stuff from, the storm and whatever. So that was good. And then the next one, Jean Marie Bond, if you saw last week's Eagle, she was in there because she found a flip-flop. Oh, you didn't get that one? And the flip-flop. I guess a friend of hers 2 months prior had her flip-flop sucked into the sand, couldn't find it. And when after the king tide and the high tide, Jean Marie went out to clean up. Thank you for doing that. And she found her friend's flip-flop after 2 months. So I thought that was pretty good. Then the next thing, if you saw in today's Eagle, past President Bill Sankey, as a thank you for his 8 years on City Council. So congratulations on that. And next, I always have to write this down so I remember. Next, if you can get a mic to Pat Stark. Where's Pat? He's going to tell us about the update on the golf tournament.
Hey, wasn't that a great lunch? That was really good. So I've got 2 things to talk about. The golf tournament. The golf tournament is the 31st of March, 3-1 March. We will only have 36 teams, and I think we already have 6 of them spoken for. So if you want to play golf in the Rotary Golf Tournament, you need to go online, because we are now live, or we will be today, and register. Otherwise, you might not get to play. Last year, we ended up with 3 or 4 teams that we kind of wedged in at the end, and we're not going to do that this year. And in addition to that, we had 3 or 4 teams on a waiting list. So it's obviously a program that's in much demand. You want to be a participant in it, so get online and get that done. And if you get it done by March 1st, then you'll also get a discount. That's the number 1 thing I have to talk about. The number 2 thing I have to talk about is go Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, geez. We might get some booze on that one. I'm not sure. Okay, so next it's what? Oh, God, I got to think what I have to pay. If I find him, what I have to pay for. I guess, you know what? I guess you're right. Okay, Pat, everybody decides you need to be fined. So I think $100 would be right up your alley. Well, then that'll be even 200 if they win. So, okay, so next, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and I can say a real pleasure and a congratulations to Nancy Nguyen here, who is our Rotary Peace Scholar. And I wanted to read something from Rotary International so people kind of understand how dynamic this is that she got this award. Districts and Rotaract clubs play a key role in recruiting and recommending Rotary Peace Fellow candidates. Each year, the Rotary Foundation awards fellowships to leaders in peace and development to study at one of the Rotary Peace Centers at premier universities around the world. The fellows can earn a master's degree, which Nancy is, or a professional development certification. Since the Rotary Peace Centers program began in 2002, More than 1,600 fellows have graduated from our programs. They are now working on peace and development initiatives in more than 140 countries. Many serve as leaders in government, non-governmental organizations, education and research institutions, peacekeeping and law enforcement agencies, and international organizations like UNICEF, the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. So Nancy, you cannot be a Rotarian or a family member to apply for this. Nancy recently was named one of San Diego's top 100 women. When she got a hold, when she got a hold of and wrote to our club, thanks to Sharon Raffer that went ahead and initiated this, got a hold of Nancy, met with Nancy, helped her through the process. This was the first time for our club that we have ever had a Rotary Peace Fellow. And the district interviewed her. They sent her on to Rotary International. And I guess she was told that usually you don't get picked the first time. Nancy got picked the first time. She wanted to go to the University of Bisbrain in Australia. So this, get that right. So this is a full ride. Rotary is paying for everything for her. So she leaves next month in a couple of weeks. So we asked her to come here just to update us on her journey. And then we'll ask her in a few months when she's down there to come and give us an update on Zoom. So Nancy, if you want to come up and talk to us a little bit on your goals and your trip.
I don't know if people can see me over this very tall platform. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nancy Nguyen. As Luann stated, I was selected as a Rotary Peace Fellow. So in a few weeks, on February 6th, I'll be on my flight to Brisbane, Australia. I'm attending the University of Queensland, which is the third ranking university in Australia and New Zealand. I applied for this program a year and a half ago, so it's been a really, really long time coming. I'm particularly interested in the university's approach to violence and through nonviolent approaches, because we know sometimes people approach peace through very violent means. I am hoping to do a dissertation on refugee-led peace-building efforts in Asia. Because of where Australia sits, I have the unique opportunity to do my research dissertation in a different country. I'm Vietnamese American, so I'm really interested in going back to my parents' home country to study the migration of refugees and immigrants in country, but also throughout Southeast Asia. Every single year, the Rotary Foundation selects 50 young leaders across the world to be selected for the master's program. So at my university, there are going to be 12 fellows across the world. I've had a chance to meet my fellow cohort, and they are coming from Afghanistan to Italy. I'm one of 2 Americans in the program. I think that this program is extremely unique because I have the opportunity to learn from not only the professors at the university, but also my fellow cohort members and how they're approaching peace in their respective countries. I want to give a really special thank you to Luann and Sharon for mentoring me and guiding me, and also to the Coronado Rotary Club for endorsing my application. I'm really excited for the program. It's going to be a year and a half long. So I'll be joining some meetings over Zoom to give you an update on my classes and also my research dissertation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy. We are just so proud of you. Okay, next, I want to introduce someone that everybody knows, Stephen Johnson, if he'd come up, of the Coronado Times. And he's going to tell us a little bit about update on news itself.
Hey, everybody. Steve Johnson, Coronado Times. Thank you so much for having me again, to have Luann allow me to be a guest and to see my neighbor, Sue, Ryan over there, and a lot of other familiar friends and partners in our community. The update is I'm thankful. And I'm thankful for the 20 years. This is our 20th year doing the Coronado Times. It started out as Coronado, now the Coronado Times. And as I'm looking through this very important banner about how you choose to do things and how you choose to share things, this is a good reminder about what all news sources and what people, especially on social media, should be thinking about and what they should be doing. And if you guys remember, thank you. The last time I spoke here, I spoke about the importance of good news. And there's lots of news that happens. And I got to tell you, just looking around this room again, there's a lot of good news happening in Coronado, and we're going to do our best to continue to cover that. There's other things that need to be covered and things that happen to our community, and we'll do our best job doing it and looking at these questions to ask ourselves. But really, my point of being up here today and to talk about news is how much we need to be sharing better things. And Nancy, it was just, this is the highlight of my day, getting to hear what you get to do for the next year and a half, and that Rotary has a hand in doing that. Not just locally making an impact, but making an impact all the way in Australia. And I think everybody knows during this time that we live in, it's so easy to have everybody be a reporter and to state what they think the truth is. And even today, I got 4 different stories that need to be told, one of them being about the flags and why they were not put up because of the rain. And that's something that we can help get that message out. And then just a special shout to Chris Grant, just knowing how much energy and effort it takes to publish, you know, what we do all the time that you continue to do, but with the Coronado lifestyle that you did for so many years, we can't do this without good local community partners like Rotary. So keep sending us the good news and keep sending us the news that you think we should be helping be out in front of for Coronado. It is a wonderful and special place. And we can always be doing a better job of making sure we point to the good news and not just what we think are other news things that may not be as, you know, truthful and necessary to share with people. So thank you again for having me, and continue to do what Rotary does well. Thank you.
All right, well said. Next, one of my favorite things is a Who Am I? So if Jacqueline and Eric want to come up, because I think they're going to do a husband-wife team here.
No, I think we're good. We're good. So who am I? As I was thinking about this question, it occurred to me there is a who am I, my history, and who am I now, and then who do I want to be? The who am I is kind of the easy, or who was I is kind of the easiest part. I'm a California native, only child, married to Eric, with 2 grown children, one of which is engaged, and both live in California. I was a chief human resources officer of Edison International in Southern California, Edison. I worked there for 33 years in a variety of roles, including IT, philanthropy, supply chain, and communications, in addition to being the human resources officer. I was part of the core officer team at the company when we were making decisions related to COVID and how to handle social injustice issues post George Floyd's murder. It was an intense time, to say the least, and a lot of work. Basically, I spent every waking moment on those issues and the regular issues that you would expect to have at a large company. People didn't think I could retire and transition to a new life, but here I am. So who am I almost a year later? Retired, avid pickleball player, Rotarian, volunteer, where I'm giving my time to help the community in a variety of different ways, including several events that are benefiting our communities. I'm mentoring, traveling, cooking, and reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. We're keeping up 2 homes, one here in Coronado and another one in Palm Desert. I haven't had any issues with my new life. I love not hearing the alarm go off in the morning. So who do I want to be? The hardest question of all. It's a question I want to live into. I have thought about writing a book and started an outline. Perhaps teach, perhaps do more mentoring, eat healthier, work out more, and do the things I couldn't do when I was working nonstop. I hope someday, but not yet, to be a grandmother too. I want to give back to the community, and Rotary is one way in which I can do this. I want to be of service and have fun doing so.
Thanks, honey. And what I was saying off mic before is that we are actually 2 separate, unique individuals. So So who am I? I'm Eric Trapp. And what I hope to tell you a little bit about is just my unique lived experience, as well as part of that, the best part of that with my wife, Jacqueline. So starting from the beginning a little bit is my mom is Danish. Her parents immigrated from Denmark. I get experience from her in terms of community service. She was a teacher and taught disadvantaged and kids that had learning disabilities. My mom also volunteered for the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. My dad's of German ancestry. He was a journalist all his life, a broadcast editor for the Associated Press, ultimately working in New York. Through that, I grew up, I was born in Utah, lived in Colorado, Pennsylvania, and then mostly in White Plains, New York, at least as a kid. Joined the Navy when I was 19. I was enlisted. I was fortunate enough to make it through the screening test, went to BUDS training, graduated BUDS, so basic underwater demolition / SEALs. In December 7th, 1979, BUDS class 105. Started with underwater demolition team 11. And then later as a SEAL reservist was recalled to active duty during Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and served at SEAL Team 5. After that, I got out. I went to school. After I got out, I got an Associate of Science in Computer Science and then a bachelor's degree in Criminal Justice. And then I've worked at Home Fed Bank here in San Diego, if any of you remember that, for 7 years. Ernst & Young, so a public accounting, consulting, and tax firm. I was a partner at Accenture, where I led their North America cybersecurity practice. And then most recently, where I retired from is Sempra Energy here in San Diego. But really, you know, as I look at what I'm doing now, so I mentioned I retired in January, during my life and through my service in the Navy, I've known too many Navy veterans that have taken their own lives. And so as I looked at, you know, what can I do in retirement? I wanted to see how I could help, you know, other veterans with mental health issues. So I went back to school. I got my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling at Northwestern University and just graduated in March of 2022. So I'm looking for those opportunities. I volunteered at Veterans Village in San Diego. I've got over 800 hours of direct client service. They're counseling homeless veterans, and I'm looking to do more. Now in retirement, as Jacqueline and I look at what we can do together, joining the Rotary was part of that. I very much subscribe to the 4-way test, and I'm looking for how I can bring more of that out into our community here. Anyhow, so that's me.
So if we can have their sponsors come up, Stephanie Anderson and Rob Taylor, and as we always do, take off the red badge. So now they won't have that on there anymore. Or the red tape. Yeah. So congratulations. Okay, it's about time for our speakers. So if John Duncan wants to come up, our newest city council member, and he's going to introduce our speaker.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, President Luann, fellow Rotarians and guests. As a fellow member of the California Bar, admitted to practice in the Southern District of California, it is my pleasure to introduce Randy Grossman, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of California. He serves as the Chief Federal Law Enforcement Official for the district, which includes San Diego and Imperial counties, and he is responsible for representing the United States in civil litigation as well. Mr. Grossman joined the U.S. Attorney's Office in 2020. Prior to his appointment as U.S. Attorney in 2022, he served in the office's Border Enforcement Section, the major frauds and public corruption section, as first assistant U.S. attorney, and as acting U.S. attorney. In addition to his experience at the U.S. Attorney's Office, Mr. Grossman prosecuted criminal cases as a deputy district attorney in Ventura and then San Diego County. During his more than 8 years as a state prosecutor, Mr. Grossman tried more than 70 cases, including homicides and other violent crimes. He also represented clients for 16 years in private practice at 2 international law firms. And something I learned at lunch today is that we are both 1995 law grads, passed the bar and were sworn in, and then interviewed for the same job. And he got the job, and I did not. But despite that, again, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce him today. And one of the first things I wanted to do, since I just a very veteran city council member with 1 full meeting under my belt as of last night, is to give him, as a thank you from Rotary and also from our community, the City Council Honor Challenge coin for thanking him for his service to our community and to our country. So please come up, and it's my pleasure. My pleasure.